Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a Western astrologer and twin flame channel. And this is a video about the new moon in Scorpio that took place today on November 20th, 2025 at 1:40 a.m. I am so excited about this new moon. OMG. Is it a potent one? It's one for the books. And frankly, I don't know. I wish we could live in this energy a lot longer than, the time period of the new moon. But hey, we'll take what we can get. Few announcements before we dive in. First of all, thank you to everyone who listens to these announcements and doesn't speed through them because they are the way that I get to connect with you and you can stay connected to me and really know about opportunities for us to stay connected outside of YouTube. And if you haven't already, get on the private list because there are some things coming up that I want to be able to share with you guys, but they're going to be shared with the private list first. If you're already on the private list, check your email. I sent something to you guys that is likely to sell out with private listers only before I even get the chance to offer it on YouTube. And typically, when I do offer this particular thing at this time of year, if you've been kicking it with me for a while, you already know what it is. But when I offer this time of thing this thing specifically at this time of year, it typically sells out within 7 days or less. So I want to make sure that if you're already on the private list, you get your chance to get in on this. Second, I want to just acknowledge that I've been promising and promising and promising that I'm gonna launch Star Club. I'm gonna launch it. But this new moon in particular, I had to come to the painful realization that I really need to wrap up the class I'm teaching with ASO Tarot, cards, and stars before I have the bandwidth to hold space for the community in the way that would really honor your investment. I'm heartbroken about it, but I trust that you understand. I really wish, and I thought I would have capacity to do both. I just don't. Because I love to do things really well and really thoroughly. If you know me, that's how it is. So thank you for your patience. My last class drop for cards and stars is December 1st. It's coming up quick, and I look forward to launching Star Club after that. And I want to thank all of you. This is the third announcement here. Thank you to everyone who responded when I asked if you wanted me to bring First Look back. You guys told me you liked it. You told me you loved it. You thought it was fun. Many of you explained that you're feeling the energies well in advance of the new and full moons as they come in, and you like that little heads up. So, thank you for letting me know. I can't believe I honestly just straight up forgot that I was doing it, but I really appreciate you all letting me know you liked it. And it's going to be included. It's in this Scorpio new moon at the tail end. Fourth, I really am putting the intention out there that I want to do more podcasts in 2026. If you have a channel or a podcast on any platform or know someone who has a channel or a podcast and they're willing to let me share astrological insights, celeb or political astrological breakdowns, email me. I'd love to build more community by sharing these insights with your audience, regardless of how big. The one thing I don't want to do is write. I don't want to write for publications. I really want to speak because it's just more efficient for me when I do my work, but I'd consider it for the right publication. So let me know. Okay. And lastly, oh my gosh, thank you again for hanging in there. Again, you guys know I've been working with ASO Tarot. I love her depth, her wisdom, her insight, her authenticity. She's amazing. If you're not already following her, go check her out. But one thing that I am I've been shamelessly influenced by her when it comes to connecting with my audience is to just check in with you guys at the start. Those of you who listen to this like to check in with you to the introductions. Here's my question for you. If you've listened this far, I know you're a true fan and I rock with you as hard as you rock with me. So here's what I got. I used to get deja vu from time to time in my life. Sometimes I'd go through periods with like a whole lot of deja vu. Sometimes it would be, just a few months in between, but I would get it at least 3 to 4 months a year. And then during that period of time, it would be like deja vu for like 2 to 3 weeks and then it would chill. I just realized literally this week, I have not had a single deja vu experience in years. In fact, I've had synchronicities ramp up, but deja vu has disappeared from my life. And the synchronicities are crazy. You would have to be there to believe it kind of syncs. So I have my theories about why deja vu stopped for me and syncs picked up, but I'm super curious. Am I the only one? What is your experience? Did it change? If it changed, when did it change? And most importantly, what the heck are your theories about why this may have happened or be changing? If I'm the only one, if I'm not the only one, I'm really curious. So let me know in the comment section. I will be circling back to find out. Okay, let me get into this new moon in Scorpio for you guys. There it is, 28 degrees Scorpio, and it is conjunct Mercury retrograde on one side and Lilith on the other side. Ooh, this combo did not come to play. It is clarifying in deep ways. Any time and any combination of Mercury and Lilith, opposition, square, sextile, whatever, conjunction, we're getting deeper insights and a clarifying look at things that are needing realignment, in particular at this new moon, scorpionic things. So, our intimate relationships, our financial situations, our transformation processes, reproductive health, and all things related to our mortality. Lilith, in general, is a clarifier because she fosters clarity about lines we're unwilling to cross, our boundaries. But it's a bit more than boundaries. Lilith takes it a step beyond, and she'll become non participatory when things aren't right for us. So, this isn't even about negotiation. This is about placing ourselves where we belong and where we're welcomed and exiting completely places where we are not. So, this new moon may see you making changes where you put, in terms of where you put yourself or who or what has access to you, so that you're able to get to where you really want to be in life. Now, because this new moon is directly opposite Uranus retrograde, this makes those shifts happen suddenly, unpredictably in some cases, and non-linearly. This is where you'll find the shifts I just described can be perceived as coming out of nowhere, but I can confirm they've been a long time coming. The urge for action is just available now in many cases, and in other cases, the divine was done waiting on us to follow through with our own intentions and moved the circumstance on our behalf. This is where we may get some bombshell news and information, some shocking truths and secrets coming to light. Files got released. And with this aspect, it's this sort of thing is going to continue throughout the end of Mercury retrograde because Mercury will continue to be in communication with Uranus and in the post shadow period through the end of December. So just brace yourselves for some intel because it's all the secrets that Scorpio as an energy wants to keep. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be in my face. It's going to be in all of our faces. We also have a sextile to Pluto here from the sign of Aquarius. And this aspect formalizes the closures in play and makes it so that we are moving with power. I love a Plutonian sextile to like anything because it gives us the impetus we need to confront fear head on and cross through its illusion with boldness. Where a closure needs to happen, believe it, it is happening right now. Where a step into empowerment needs to happen, the time is now. Where there's a need to break free from something damaging or destructive, it's underway. The empowerment energy in this cannot be overstated. A quick word to my fellow Americans as we step into a holiday week, since Pluto's also going to be talking to Mercury by sextile, and that's going to make the tongues real sharp. You don't have to agree with people to love them, but loving them does not require that you stay where harm is still happening. Expect emotions to run high and move according to your desires, your capacity, and your skill set. It's totally okay to recognize you don't have the skill set you need for proximity to be a successful engagement or an engagement that can be love filled. Love filled. It's also okay to recognize I have the skills, but I don't have the capacity. I'm burnt out. Or I have the desire, but I don't have the skills or the capacity, right? Place yourself where you can feel like you've honored yourself. That would be my advocacy for all of us at this time. Self love first. Okay, that's all I got on that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's talk about the trine to Saturn and Neptune. Happy holidays, guys. I hope you all have fun. Family, friend, and chosen family, who a friend of mine introduced me to the phrase framily, which is like friends who have become family. I love that phrase, that word. That portmanteau is like perfect. I hope you all have really fun, loving times ahead with friends, family, and family. Trine to Saturn and Neptune, who are retrograde in Pisces. The clean out continues. So, this is a psychic and subconscious clean out if I have ever seen one. It's a hyper thinning of the veil. So, where there have been hidden, glamored, covered pieces of agendas or information that have been intentionally painted to look like one thing when it's clearly another. Even those with the most underdeveloped intuition are going to start seeing it and catching it. There's a ton of intuitive downloads and hits and exposure of information available now. Even if you have looked before and couldn't find the information you were looking for, if you look again now, I promise you're going to find it. This particular aspect is helping us all to clear out our psyches so we can be prepared for our next stage of becoming as Saturn and Neptune move into Aries and take on we take on our identities next year. Now, for now, this is a bit of a final purge before a pretty significant personal restructuring that will take place in the early parts of next year in terms of our identity, our ambition, and our passions. The other energy here is a trine to Jupiter in Cancer. And this, my star family, is the gasoline on the fire, the hairspray to the blowtorch. This is the reason it all feels even more intense. I give you the great expander in the sign of deep emotions. Whatever Jupiter touches, he expands. And everything I just described is reckoning energy. Where things have been dealt with, you may be feeling quite fine. easy breezy cover girl with this new moon. But where things that needed to come to light are now making headlines in your world, this can have that news feel like emotional bombshells in your heart and head. So take it one step at a time. Stay hydrated and moisturized because self care is wealth care. Check on your loved ones if you're cruising through this, and let your close ones love you if you're not. Also, take breaks from the internet as needed. Sometimes it's not always helpful. Now, if we place all of this together, this grand water trine that includes potent interjections from Pluto and Uranus, this is a massive disruption to our emotional patterning as a collective. Emotionally, as a collective, not only are emotions running high, but the patterns we've consistently run in order to make it through life, these are starting to crack. And so, systematically and collectively, there's heightened, for those who identify as empaths, we're all empathetic. We all have the ability, but those who identify as empaths or intuitively or sensitive to collective energies, you may feel quite drained, deleted, and drained and depleted because there's so much heavy water energy in this chart. You may also be feeling very emotional at this time. It's really important to remember that if you can receive signal, you can also broadcast signal, but it does take being willing to be personally, emotionally regulated, spiritually grounded, and intentionally focused to step into that level of mastery. But that is absolutely a skill anyone who identifies as highly sensitive or an empath can bring to the party as we move into the holiday week next week, if you're in the States, or just having a regular old time in your country where you are. You have the capacity to not just regulate yourself, but regulate entire groups of people that you're in proximity with. Again, it does take being personally regulated, spiritually protected and grounded, and a little bit of skill. But once you know how to do that, you actually are a beautiful gift. Instead of feeling victimized by the world, you have the ability to actually change the world. So keep that in mind. Last thing I want to say about this configuration, anytime Jupiter and Neptune are in combo alongside Mercury, there's always a huge invitation to just check the F right out. Like, there's high opportunity for all of the coping mechanisms that we utilize to deal with difficult emotions to show up with thunder here. So I'm talking about all the behaviors: gaming, workaholism, sleeping. Well, sleeping, I really like that one, but it's one of my favorites. But any of the behavioral addictions here, the corn addictions, the addictions to, I don't know, what are the other ways people check out? And then all the substances, especially again, now we're coming close to the end of the year, the holiday season. This is a new moon where emotions will run high. If you have been working with trying to release any of those escapist tendencies or behaviors, food, sugar, substances, what have you, this is where you'll find this new mood is kind of like the the friend who it's like the friend that always knows when you're in a bad spot and rolls up to your house like, get in, mother effer, we're going for a ride. And it's like, oh man, I know if I go out with you, it's gonna be a problem, but F it, let's go. This new moon has that undertone to it. So if you have felt like a a greater intensity around any of those behaviors or substance use or escapism because emotions have just been running high or so high that you're numb and overwhelmed and checked out. Just know that this is temporary. We're going to come out of heavy occupation by planets in water in just a couple weeks' time. But do what you need to do, extra check-ins with people who are good supports to you, and extra disconnects from people who trigger you to check out. Whatever you need to do to stay deeply connected to you is what I strongly advocate because we are moving into a season as of early next year, again, with Saturn and Neptune headed into the sign of Aries. We are moving into a season that is going to ask us to confront ourselves really deeply. And because they are retrograde in Pisces in this moment, this is the perfect opportunity to sit with the subconscious material that has been wanting to surface to help you see where this sort of escapist tendency may be coming from, if this is something you're struggling with. Now, alternatively, and I teach this a lot in my astrological classes. If you've taken any classes with me, you've probably heard me talk about this, that all of those escapist tendencies, did I say that, pronounce that word correctly? Escapist tendencies. I think I said it right. All of those tendencies are a way to cope with a vision that's visionary capacity that's light years beyond where human consciousness is. We see a lot of the placements of Neptune in communication with Jupiter, with Moon, with Sun, with Mercury, which we see in this chart here for this new moon, but we see a lot of these in the natal charts of people who have a propensity to either struggle with addiction and, flip side of the same coin, are visionary leaders here on the planet. Like I'm talking about Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela type visionaries, people who have a vision for the planet that is beyond current consciousness. The distinction between the two is that the person who's struggling with an addiction is trying to change themselves to fit the world. The person who stepped into being the visionary is trying to change the world to match and become a place where they can survive and thrive. And so this is a really beautiful opportunity, this new moon, to really sit with that psychic, intuitive, subconscious material if you are one of these folks, and really look at what about the world and its dysfunction, because we can all agree there's some dysfunction here. What about the world's dysfunction really isn't working for me? And if I had it all my way, what would it look like? What could it look like? Like, what would be the ideal, perfect world for me to step into? And if I feel and think this way, perhaps my action toward it could also help others who need it too. And so we often see with folks who are in recovery or now sober that they have stepped into some level of visionary, life-changing impact work. And I want to encourage anyone who has had this struggle. I know people in my family have, people I know personally have. If this is anything that's unfolding for you, I just want to encourage you to utilize this energy to sit with your vision. Because as we get into 2026, we are going to be asked to start to implement on vision. As Neptune returns to Aries, our sign of action and identity. Okay. So, a little bit of encouragement there for all of us collectively, and for those of you in particular who are walking that particular path. You have a special place in my heart. Signs who are going to feel this particular new moon most. of course, Scorpio, and very early degrees of Sagittarius, obviously, but also Leo in the early degrees of Virgo, also Pisces and sorry, Aquarius and the early degrees of Pisces. And then we have Taurus and the early degrees of Gemini. If you have sun, moon, rising, or stelliums in these positions, this new moon is likely to be more impactful for you well into next week, with themes continuing to unfold well into the close of Mercury retrograde on November 29th, and then into December with the post retrograde shadow. So stay tuned. The intensity will wax and wane. I'll keep you posted as we get into the Gemini full moon. And that brings us to first look. Let's take a look at the Gemini full moon together, shall we, guys? This is my first look at this chart. Well, is it? I don't know. I kind of mapped out when I was doing one-on-one readings. I kind of mapped this out for some of my clients who wanted to look at the tail end of the year and was like, okay, so here's the Gemini new moon. Here's what to expect. Oh, one other thing I think it's important to say. Let me go back to this other chart. This Scorpio new moon marks the 60-day activation, post-eclipse activation point for the eclipse that we had on September 21st. So October 21st was the first activation point. November 20th, this is the second activation point. That new moon solar eclipse in Virgo was all about new beginnings, and things that began under that new moon do have the opportunity for long-term impact, long-term sort of playing out over the long haul. So if you're curious about that new moon, I strongly recommend you go back and listen to it, especially if something significant shifted in your life at the activation points pre or post eclipse. You just want to look 30 days before, 60 days before, 30 days after, 60 days after. These are the most potent. But for those of you who are astrologically sensitive, you may have felt this up to 90 days before and started seeing the changes then. 90 days out will be around the solstice. You may experience changes that late. Most people fall within the 60-day range. It just depends on your level of astrological sensitivity. Now let's go to the Gemini full moon. Okay, let's take a look here. Our full moon in Gemini is here at the 13th degree. Again, this, kind of my first real look studying this. So you're getting my initial first impressions as opposed to anything that's particularly well thought out. We have an exact square to the nodal axis, which is always significant of turning point events, typically related to choices in particular. This new moon, loose opposition to Venus, very loose opposition to Juno. So we've got some relationship decisions that need to get made during this period of time. We also see, okay, we've got square to Nessus. This is going to cause a lot of rumination for a lot of people. And we've got a trine to Pallas and Chariklo. This will unfold a bit of protection, safety in numbers, as well as blessing energy on whatever decision you end up making for yourself. Very interesting. I can't wait to break this down further as we get close to it at the start of December. I think this will make for a very interesting energy. Ooh, look at this. We also have a trine from the Shaman's asteroid and the relationship sign. Yeah. So this is going to be heavy decisions about relationships. It's funny because another astrologer who also does tarot, she and I were talking was it earlier this year, late last year, about how just about everyone we know with strong Gem and Sag placements is in some sort of like love triangle situation, some sort of like third party love triangle like situation. And this Gemini full moon lets me know you've been through many up until now, but we're coming into yet another opportunity to make a decision. Whether that decision is out with the truth, I want you both. Let's figure out how to make that work. Or one works for me and one doesn't. Let me figure out how to align my life accordingly. Or none of this is reflective of where I want to go. I need to put it all down and really get with myself and come into some truth. I don't think that's just Gemini and Sag. I think the year of 2025, and I saw this coming into it with all of the major planets changing signs, really threw down the gauntlet for us collectively in terms of pick a lane, pick a side, pick a truth, and act accordingly. This playing in the middle of the street, driving in both lanes no longer works. And I've said this privately, I've said it collectively. Some of you remember me saying this, but we've entered a period of time where it's necessary for us to have to leave ambiguity behind and step into truth and clarity. And this is for our own livelihoods, thriving, for our own life to be able to move forward. And so this particular full moon in Gemini does have it's like, when you're in a writing tool and you can bold, you can italicize, you can underline to create emphasis. This Gemini full moon, it has emphasis on that theme for 2025 as we close it out. So you probably are already feeling some of this, but more to come. Dot, dot, dot. I can't wait to share more with you. Thank you for liking, subscribing if you're new, welcome, for sharing if you know somebody who needs the validation. Thank you for your comments below. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say to my intro question because I'm really trying to figure it out. Like I said, I have some theories, but I would love to know what yours are. And thank you for just being here with me for another year. It's been an amazing year full of a lot of extraordinary growth for me. And I know for you it has been as well. Like I said, I can't wait to share Star Club with you as soon as I wrap up cards and stars. And thank you for your patience. I love you guys so much, Star family. And I can't wait to do the next full moon with you. Take great care and bye for now.